Hey, good morning. Back here on the little small line boring shaft. And now this is the one that was brought to me. And let me see if I can make sure that you can see that. I got the gauge here set with gauge block at 5/8 of an inch, 0.625. So the gauge is showing 1,500 under nominal. Now let's move this thing over to the center here. And it's showing 2,000ths about there under nominal. And we get towards the end and we're getting around 0.5 thousandths, but the shaft is not round. I think you can see that as I rotate it. Okay, so that's the problem. It's also not concentric with the OD, and which is not concentric anyway. So let's move the works over here to the new lathe, the newer lathe. And let's have a look here. Okay. Now, what I did was I turned the OD of that cold rolled 12L. And so let's get the gauge on here, see where it's at. Get it on there. And remove this a little bit. Okay, it's showing 1,002 under nominal. Let's get it in the middle. Showing right about 1,000ths under nominal. Showing slightly over 9/10 under. So let's try it again. Just about 1,000ths under. Well, you get a little bit of, just a little bit of a lump there. Now he wants 3/10. And I think we've got it. Okay, now I got a little bit of lump in this thing, and just about 1/2 or a little more from using a 6-jaw chuck. And so the next, the rest of them, I'm going to go ahead and use a 4-jaw chuck, a little bit heavier one than I started with, and I think I'll be able to hold better than that 3/10. But I'm right there. Okay. Now for concentric, let's get the dial indicator on here. And I have to say this is probably about as good as I've ever indicated in this old 6-jaw, which is in good condition. Let that indicator settle in. I got that a little better than 1/10. True. Okay, let's get it out on the end. If I'm on there pretty good, not rubbing. I hope you can see that needle. I'll put it down at the bottom here. Let's settle in a little bit. Better than a 10. So that's okay. We're good. But I will use the 4-jaw just to hold stuff. Okay, now let's have a look over here. And we can get a better look at the tool because he brought more of it. Now, this is one that's completed, and he thinks it'll work. Someone else built this, but he wants me to true it up a little bit. So I got it just set on some V-blocks on this bench here, and let's see what the run out is. See, it's just a little bit more than 1/1000, I believe. Yeah. Now you got to keep in mind that the oil clearance for this journal from Machinery's Handbook is between 0.6 and 1/1000. So we have a thousandths run out. The other one there is going to be a lot worse. Maybe we'll check that a little bit later. Okay. So this is how it works. Here's the cutter here, and it just goes through, and the cutter is made to size. See? See how it's ground? On both ends. So this thing cuts both ways, turning like that, and I think it feeds in the direction of the clip here. And he's having a problem getting these bits ground and properly, and the length of it, of course, controls the diameter of the bushing that it machines. So I will grind these using the best arbor that I'll put it in the tool and cutter grinder, and it's just, these are just made from drill blanks. It's a drill blank, different from drill rod. You know, a drill blank is hard like a drill bit, high-speed steel. Okay, so this is fun. So I turn these, and the first ones I turned had 0.002 taper, because that's normal, because I jockey that tailstock around, and I had to jockey the tailstock around to get the minimal amount of taper that I did on that piece there. And the next piece I'm going to do with a heavier 4-jaw. It's about a 5-inch 4-jaw chuck, and I should be able to hold the piece a lot more stable. But I got that 0.002 taper out in this length, you know, the first length I got it down to 0.5, but it doesn't really matter. Now, one of these I wanted to show that the material is bent, and because it didn't clean up on the very end. And that's why I machined this the way I did. Well, this one here, you can see it. See? Excuse me. They're cold, I'll tell you. So that's okay, because it'll clean up on the long length. Hope I'm better. Okay. So that's the deal now, is to go ahead and machine these things. He's going to do this stuff, put the set screw in and all that, because he's real good at stuff. He just doesn't have a lathe quite like this Monarch that'll straighten this stuff out. Now, now, this is for the real crazy people like the Blade, Sheffield Bailey. He says he wants to make spindles, which is really a fun thing to do, and it's very useful. I made the spindles for my super tool and cutter grinder. It's better than one you can buy anywhere. So when you're making something like that, like a spindle, and I showed this before, this is an arbor for an obsolete table saw. And it's got left-hand Acme, stub Acme threads here, and just some V threads here, and a taper that pulls in. And I machined this in one setting, right? I had enough piece that I could chuck up here, and I had it just like that. I cut this thread, I cut the taper, and I cut this left-hand V thread here. It's all left-hand. So it's all true. Now, dinking around with something like this, it takes a lot more time. If there's enough length to chuck, I'd make the whole piece in one setting like this, and it'd be done with. So, I thought I'd point that out. I got the power off on that monster machine there, and I'm going to click it back on in a few hours, and I'll update you. Okay, bye-bye.